Hey guys, sorry it's been so long since our last video. Let me catch you up real quick on our previous week. It's been a crazy busy week, man. A lot going on. Um, Monday, Martin Luther King Day, celebration of a man who fought for civil rights, for equality between whites and blacks, or I don't really like using those terms. So lighter shades and darker shades. Um, but interestingly enough, after MLK was assassinated, 30 years later, his best friend and confidant, Mr. Abernathy, released some information about MLK in his memoir, um, in regards to how um, Mr. King would he was very unfaithful to his wife, and that the night before he was assassinated, he ended up assaulting a woman in a hotel room, um, that he plagiarized a large section of his doctoral dissertation, not just sentences, but lengthy paragraphs. Um, so it's cause to stop and consider. Does fighting for racial equality cover a multitude of sins, in regards to abusing women, lying, and being unfaithful to your spouse? Um, so there's the question: does it cover a multitude of sins? Uh, you also, on Monday, had the 2A Second Amendment rally in Virginia, um, which, Governor Northam kind of led this campaign of fear mongering against it, trying to scare everybody and make them think, well, we've got a bunch of racist, bigoted white men coming in just to show off their guns. So, this is also a threat to our national security or our state security. So then he tried to ban or outlaw firearms on the premises, and which is kind of interesting, because they're going to protest, to fight for Second Amendment rights, to speak out about their Second Amendment rights, and the governor is there, trying to take that right away. I just think that's kind of ironic, because our founding fathers put that in the Constitution, the right to keep and bear arms, for the purpose of defense against a tyrannical government. Because if a government is the only entity that controls the weapons, where is your defense in the matter? So, yeah. Um, Government wants to take your weapons, usually is the sign of your government wants to control everything about your life. And they will have that right because you will no longer be able to defend yourself. Um, Moving on from there, you had the Women's March, which was more of a um, only women who fit this category and who think like me march. Because um, conservative Christian women were not welcome, pro life women were not welcome, women who supported Trump were not welcome. It was very much, we are here supporting women's right to choose. There's a lot more women's rights out there than just the right to choose. Um, um, I think they may have covered racism, and they may have mentioned the wage gap as well. But it just seems kind of interesting that only women who fit in this particular category can march, and all other women that think differently than us are not welcome. And not treated with the equality that we are fighting for and crying out for. That just seems kind of interesting in my mind. Then you had the March for Life. Thousands of people protesting and crying out on behalf of those who don't have a voice. And our president and vice president did speak at this march. And actually, referred to the baby as a soul made in the image of Almighty God. Which, if you think about the way that Trump has handled abortion and Planned Parenthood, he's been one of the more adamant against it of the Republican presidents, and for that I am very grateful. I believe it was last summer he signed a bill into effect that essentially removed $60 million from Planned Parenthood, which caused them to have to shut down a couple clinics. But more recently, December, or it could have been the beginning of this month, he allowed a bill to go through that was just, I think it was essentially a continuation of receipt of benefits, receipt of finances for Planned Parenthood, which is kind of interesting, that he has fought against it. He signed a bill into effect, significantly cutting their dollar amount, and then he allows a bill to go through. I want to look at both sides. It's very hard, especially when you talk about the fact that this is a position where it's more than a position. You're fighting for somebody's life. You're fighting on behalf of somebody that can't even fight for themselves. They can't say anything to you. And so I guess it's kind of hard to reconcile. I am sure that part of it is in fact due to the fires that he has constantly been having to put out in regards to the impeachment and the Senate interviews and hearings, the Senate hearings and things of that nature. But still, if you take a position, you fight for it. I do believe that you fight for it. And maybe after all of this impeachment stuff settles down, he or the next Republican candidate who makes it into office can continue that, to speak out on behalf of those who can't speak for themselves. So, once again, big week. A lot happened on the political spectrum. Keep up with things. Listen, read. Don't just take a headline and run with it. Also, just yesterday, I know you have definitely heard now, just Kobe Bryant, and his daughter, another gentleman and his daughter, passing away in the helicopter accident yesterday. Just be in prayer for their loved ones left behind. Pray for peace. Pray that through this they would turn to Christ and would trust Christ in the midst of the pain and heartache. So thanks, guys. I appreciate you. And Lord bless you.